call of the Hogs can be heard all the way to San Francisco.
You're listening to Pod at the Palace with Curtis Wilkerson on Inside Arkansas.
Welcome in to the Pod at the Palace pregame show here live from Goat Lab Red, 1214 North Garland in Fayetteville, where we're going to take you up to tip-off for Arkansas LSU. Tipping off at 8 o'clock. It's an SEC Network special. Curtis Wilkerson, John Neighbors, Andrew Ellis here with you tonight. Looking forward to hanging out. You know, every time we come out to Goat Lab Red, it's a really good time. Now, it's not lost on me that the 2 times we've done pregame events here, Arkansas's lost the game, but I feel too good about it tonight. We're going to change the mojo. They're not going to lose to LSU on John Calipari's birthday, right? There's no way that's going to happen.
No, and, we also have to acknowledge the fact that the last time we did anything at a location the day of an LSU game, especially on the road, it didn't go well. So we're trying to break a lot of trends tonight, but we believe in this Hog team. We believe they can get over this not that difficult test, and let's hope they don't make us mad here.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for, is just don't make us mad. Don't make it to where it's stressful, because the vibes are too high here at Goat Lab Red. And, of course, as we all know, that the game's not till 8, so that's why we're doing a pregame show. It's a little bit differently. But the vibes are high right now. They're going to remain high, and they're going to stay high throughout the entire night. And then the Pod at the Palace postgame show, presented by SARACEN, is going to be high vibes only.
Sure.
It's just going to be a great night for basketball, great night for postgames, and a great night just to enjoy a Razorback win. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan to me. And folks, come out and hang out with us. We're going to be here for the pregame show. We'll take you up pretty close to tip-off, and then we're going to hang out and watch a majority of the game before we get set up for our postgame. And it's progressive wing night here at Goat Lab Red. So wings are going to start at $1. Then every media timeout, based on how much Arkansas has scored, they're going to drop in price. So if the Hogs score 100, your wings are free.
That's right.
Right? And this is one of the highest scoring offenses in the country. So take advantage of the great opportunity here, if you will. But this basketball game, so the update, what's changed since we were on Inside Arkansas Live is we now know for certain that Arkansas is going to be down a couple bodies. Carter Knox, DJ Wagner were doubtful. Now they're out for the second consecutive game for the Razorbacks. We know that for LSU, their star point guard, Deaton Thomas, is out. But now that we know for sure about Carter and DJ, does that change the vibes? Does it change how you feel about this one at all?
No, because you already had a game where you got to feel what it was like to be without those guys. So as far as I'm concerned, it's really not that different from the Mississippi State mentality, which went pretty well. Now, I understand if you're playing shorthanded, that can only last a certain amount of time because everyone kind of knows you have to step up. But then enough time goes by and it's like, all right, I don't know if we can do this every night. It's still early. They it's been 48 hours since they played or whatever it was. Like, they should be able to kind of keep it rolling. And I also think this LSU team being down Deaton Thomas is also a big deal. So I think for Arkansas, it doesn't really change from the Mississippi State game where they should be coming off of a pretty, nice little feel good about themselves performance. So I think they're equipped to handle it. And, another opportunity for Isaiah Sealy.
Yeah, and the main thing is just about what it'd be different if we saw this team against Mississippi State and they struggled, and then suddenly we're like, oh crap, like here we go, we have to deal with this again. It's like, no, because of that domination that they had against Mississippi State without having Carter Knox, without having DJ Wagner, it's probably a little bit a scary thing, but it's like I feel good about it. I feel like, okay, well, hey, they proved that they can go on the road and beat a bad team in the SEC road landscape. Surely they can do that again. Like, they can make it happen. But I think with the emergence and seeing, Billy Richmond and how well he plays, I'm sure everyone's going to be like, wait, Isaiah Sealy, how many minutes is he going to get? We'll see how that happens. But Arkansas is a good enough basketball team, because I know you talked about it, Curtis, if LSU has some players out too. Arkansas is a good enough basketball team to where, yeah, we want them to have DJ Wagner, Carter Knox, but they shouldn't have to have them tonight to beat LSU. It's like, does it make it more tough? Does it make it more difficult? We'll see. But I just think that even without them, they still should be all right.
Yeah, I mean, you would love to be at full strength in any of these games. The thing that stinks about this for Arkansas is that they hit the bye week, and that was an opportunity to get healthy and to get right and to get recharged, and then you come back and you're down 2 guys, and all of a sudden you're playing, half your players 40 minutes right out of the gate, so it kind of defeated the purpose of the bye week. But you know what Arkansas does have? Darius Acuff. And LSU couldn't guard him in the last matchup. I mean, he had 24 points in the second half of that one. What was it? He missed his first shot after halftime, and then he made 10 straight after that. So as long as that guy's out there, I feel pretty good about Arkansas's chances in a basketball game, especially against a team that he's already torched. I went back and looked because I didn't remember how DJ and Carter played in that first game against LSU. They were okay. I think DJ hit a couple threes. I think he had 7 points and a couple assists. Carter had 5 points, 5 rebounds. The biggest thing was that they combined for 43 minutes. And so you've got to come up with that somewhere. And Malik Ewan is going to come off the bench for Arkansas. He was like the one guy who didn't play great, I would say, in that Mississippi State game. You would hope that you can get more from him. Isaiah Sealy, who you mentioned, this is an awesome opportunity. I mean, you can't ask for anything more if you're Isaiah Sealy. Like, you got a shot. You got out there, you took advantage of it. I think he's certainly done enough to warrant a second look, and so now he's got to go over and stack games against another team that I think is a decent matchup for him. So I'm going to be anxious to see what it looks like. As long as Arkansas avoids the foul trouble issues, they should be just fine in this game. LSU is not a deep team either. They've got injuries. They're only going to play 8 themselves, and a couple of them are just warm bodies out there.
Yeah, I think this is a lot more about the guys that are going to play for Arkansas than it is the guys who aren't. I also think back to that LSU game. I was looking at the box score earlier. LSU out-rebounded Arkansas by 7 or 8.
Wild.
LSU also didn't turn the ball over much at all, and Arkansas shot the ball well. Really, they haven't shot the ball from 3 great these last several games. They made 10 threes against LSU, but the Tigers were able to offset that because they were to win in some of these key battles. I think for Arkansas, you want to reverse course on a couple of those things. Rebounding for sure. Malik Ewan, Nick Pringle, Trevin Brazile, those guys have to step up, and I know not having Carter doesn't help from that regard, but I also think the turnovers. Isaiah Sealy came into that game the other day against Mississippi State, blocked 3 shots, stole a pass, was in the passing lanes. You could definitely feel his presence on defense. I want to see that again tonight because I think if Arkansas is able to get LSU turn the ball over, they take care of the ball pretty well in most of these games. We've seen those assist totals really go up there for Arkansas. When they play those games, they have 20, 22 assists. I mean, mathematically, it's just hard to beat this team, especially if they're turning you over and especially if it's anywhere close to 50-50 on the boards. And so that's something I think Arkansas can fix without DJ Wagner, without Carter Knox. Not that those guys can't steal passes, not that those guys can't rebound, but I think it comes down to some of these other guys in this 7-man rotation. Just do your job, and you should be able to hold these margins. And then if you shoot the ball, if you make 10 threes in this game, Arkansas might blow these dudes out.
Yeah, and you'll get some free wings out of it if they do it that way too from Goat Lab. I mean, that happens. But you think also too about what was it? I forgot what the free throw percentage was for
7
Arkansas.
for 18, I think. Yeah,
that's not going to happen for Arkansas in this game. Like, if there's one guarantee that I could put on this game is that Arkansas is not going to have that terrible free throw shooting performance like they did the last time they played. Which again, there was other elements like you talked about, Andrew, of why the team maybe got closer, why it was closer, and LSU didn't shoot well from 3. Arkansas did. So will Arkansas hit 10 threes? Maybe, hopefully so, but. There's just some weird elements about that game, the snow, and I just don't see Arkansas having that type of slow play performance and, kind of not getting after it. Like, maybe the motivation's there, maybe the urgency's there, but yeah, I just think that this game is going to be much different than what we saw when these first 2 teams played earlier in the year. And hopefully it's different in the better way where Arkansas wins this game, wins it convincingly, and it's never in doubt the entire time.
Yeah, I hope it's different too. I hope the final result stays the same any way that you can get it. But that was an uncomfortable afternoon at Bud Walton Arena. That was way too close for comfort. It seemed like LSU was really motivated to take the fight to Arkansas, and they wanted nothing to do with it in that game. I was really impressed with the way Arkansas came out on Saturday at Mississippi State. Landed the first punch. Like when Arkansas went on a 19-2 run early in that game, it's usually the opposite of what we've grown to expect from this team on the road. So now it's all about consistency because Arkansas has had these great performances and we go, okay, cool, that's the one. They've turned the corner now. They're good to go. No more funny business. And then the next night it's like, oh, no, actually it's still the exact same thing. So the hope would be that they kind of avoid some of that. And this is going to be an interesting environment. The PMAC has been weird for Arkansas to go play at. They've lost 3 in a row there at this point. Last year we mentioned it. We had a watch party somewhere else, and it was the biggest crash out I've ever had on the air. I was so mad after that game. Rough. It was ridiculous. The year before that, it was the Will Baker game, which you mentioned earlier on Inside Arkansas Live. The year before that, it was the Anthony Black got slapped in the face, and they lost on the night of the Liberty Bowl. It's 3 in a row. We're just like, these are weird games, and this shouldn't happen. Arkansas hasn't won there since the Key Smart administration. And they had to sacrifice Devo Davis's tooth to wind up getting the win there. So it's a weird place, and Arkansas is going to be wearing the road whites because it's a purple out at the Maravich Center. John, thoughts on the purple out? I know you love the red out, so you must be thrilled about this.
Listen, as a former Fayetteville purple dog myself on the purple outs, I hate it. Like even back then, it's like we didn't do anything like that. But you know what? It's kind of like I don't know what the crowd's going to look like. But it's like when we went to Oklahoma, they were like, "Hey, free everything." That's how you get the crowd in there. You don't do it with a purple out. Like that's not the direction you go. So
wear your finest purple.
I think it's a weird thing to do for it to be your primary color. Like if at Bud Walton, I don't know if they ever even say like, "Hey, wear red to this game." It's like that's kind of we were probably going to do that anyway.
Right. Well, see, that's
True.
That's what I was wondering. And also to your point, like, is this the first time that Arkansas started with LSU at home? As far as the first of the two? Because it felt
You might be onto something.
It felt like it was always at LSU to start, and then you got the revenge game back on it. We talked about last year, the year before that, So again, I thought that was an interesting dynamic where it seems like all the times that you've lost down at LSU on all those weird games, it was always early part of the year. But now it's like kind of reverse where you get the road game after the fact when you already run the home game. Does that change anything? I don't really know, but I also thought that was pretty fascinating where it just doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, that is interesting. I hadn't thought about that. And it's like road environments in the SEC. There's never an easy night on the road in the SEC. We know that, but it's for different reasons. Like I see Auburn and Vanderbilt on the screen right now. Auburn is a difficult road environment because it's like a small intimate gym, but they pack it out. It's super loud in there. So it can be a true home court advantage. LSU is one of those places where, especially on a midweek, a late night tip, it's not like that at all, but you kind of have to bring your own energy because if you look at their home games this season, there are times where they can bring an opponent in there and lull them to sleep. And all of a sudden you're Kentucky and you're down by a bunch and you got to fight back and hit a Christian Laettner shot to win the game. Or I think they beat Missouri in there, but then there are other games like South Carolina. What were they up like 50-20 on them in the first half? They just put it on them right away. Mississippi State last week, we just saw that team. They're not very good. They jumped on LSU in their own building right away. So it's any game that you go into, you could be like, well, a key for Arkansas is to get off to a great start.
Yeah.
That's very, very true in this one. And it's one thing that they finally did on Saturday. They need to carry over into tonight.
If anyone has ever been on a bad sports team or been a part of a bad sports team, whether it's the Little League level or the high school level, and Curtis, I know I'm not knocking you. You've been a part of some seasons that didn't go planned at the collegiate level. And when you're in those locker rooms, pregame, it's always the same. No matter what your record is, pregame, you're still like, all right, it's going to be different tonight. We're going to go in. The vibes are good. And so if you get out there and have success in that first 10 minutes, maybe your home crowd gets behind you a little bit, you become a lot more dangerous. Whereas once you're in this lull like LSU is, and listen, they've had their lumps in SEC play. They've let go of the rope a little bit in some of these games. They faced some adversity and not really handled it well. In that Arkansas game, they didn't face adversity early. Arkansas had to kind of overcome that. Usually when you show this LSU team, you kind of knock them down. They don't show this resilience usually. And so I think it's very important with a team that frankly doesn't have a ton to play for in LSU. Why would they dig deep in this game? If Arkansas comes out and punches them in the mouth, you've already lost 8 conference games. You might as well lose another one. It becomes pretty easy. It's like, I really think, not saying that these players are just going to openly quit on the floor, but like LSU hasn't shown a ton of these games where they've had to battle back and they're really going to respond well to adversity. And why would they? At this point, the regular season kind of means nothing to them.
And they're also not in a position to where they're going to be able to play from behind really well.
Right.
Not only are they without their point guard, they're without a point guard, period. And because if you remember back to that game that they played at Bud Walton Arena, Deaton Thomas was the catalyst for everything that they did. Arkansas couldn't keep him in front. The dude was getting in the paint. He was dropping off to their big guys. He was hitting little jumpers. I think he had 18 points and 5 or 6 assists. He was really hard to handle, but they've talked about it now to where it's kind of a by-committee approach at point guard. It's not a team that's going to play really fast. They don't have a bunch of playmaking to score a ton of points on you, so they can't afford to get behind in games. They got to rely on play running instead of play making is kind of the situation that they're in there. So, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But, folks, you got to come see how it's going to play out here with us at Goat Lab Red, 1214 North Garland in Fayetteville. Make sure you get out here and take advantage of their progressive wing night. Wings are going to start at $1, and then at every the TV timeout, the price drops by the Razorback score until the wings are free. And like we said at the top of the show, as a Razorback team, it's averaging like 90 a game. So you can do the math there. If they're scoring quite a bit, then your wings are going to be pretty cheap. And make sure you come out here and hang out with us. So I don't know, fellas. What are we thinking? Is this going to be the Isaiah Sealy moment? Was that just a warm-up? Because here's the deal. You see this sometimes. Like, teams get injuries, and a guy will step up. And the first game that he comes into, he plays well, and people are like, well, why? He should have been playing the entire time. What's going on here? And then the next game, maybe he has a little bit of a stumble, and it's not so much. And then 2 or 3 games later, you never hear from him again.
Yeah, so I personally, and this is not a knock on Sealy, I am not expecting a strong performance from Isaiah Sealy. Not because I don't believe in the kid. I just think when you have a freshman who hasn't played a ton, 2 good road games in a row is just not something you can count on. Now, could he do it? Of course, he's very capable. We just saw on Saturday he can affect an SEC game. He's good enough to do that. He has a skill set that I think can help Arkansas in this matchup. I just personally am not going to expect it. And frankly, I don't think John Calipari should be either. I think he should be prepared to put Isaiah Sealy out there and then maybe realize, hey, okay, this maybe isn't going to go as well. I think I'm looking at some of these older guys like a Trevin Brazil, Billy Richmond, who is a sophomore, but he just kind of feels like he has a lot more maturity to him. I think Billy's going to have to play a ton. And, of course, those two big men. It's kind of what we say going into all these games is if Arkansas's front court is good, hey, we feel pretty good. I think some of these older guys have to step up. And I think also the two freshmen and Malik Thomas and Darius Acuff. At the end of the game, if it's close, if Arkansas's up 1, down 1 with 4 or 5 minutes left, you got to let those freshmen carry you home. You can get by, assuming that DJ and Carter or one of them is at least back Saturday, you can get by with looking at your team tonight as John Calipari and being like, hey, Billy, I'm going to ask something out of you that I'm never going to ask again, but you're going to have to play 36 minutes tonight. Pringle, I'm going to have to ask you to be good at basketball tonight. I'll never ask that of you again. Tonight, I need you to be good. And I think you can kind of tell that has to be the mentality. It's like one last time, 6 and 7 of us, come together and we win a game. And then Saturday, we're back to normal. It'll be easy. You guys can relax.
I think it needs to be something to where it's like, hey, you're not expected, Sealy, to play this, certain stats, whatever, but it'd be really cool if you did. Like,
Sure.
I'll leave you in there if it's going to work. I'm hoping, and again, Cal's probably better at this than me, but it's like, I'm hoping that to just say, Sealy, you're going to play, but we don't have to have you just go out there. Just let him be, as a freshman, feel comfortable where it's like, hey, we still got Darius Acuff. We still got Trevin Brazil. We still got Billy Richmond. We still have these really good players. I mean, again, it'd be cool if you play well. And if you play well, you're going to get your minutes, but don't feel like you're having to prove yourself where it's like, I got to go out and I got to do this if I want to continue to have a chance at this, because it's like, hey, this is just an opportunity. You're going to get run. They're down 2 players, 2 key contributors. You're going to get minutes. You're going to get your opportunities. Don't feel like you have to force it and don't feel like you have to put on a show for John Calipari or the staff. Just play your game. And I'm hoping as a true freshman, he has that mentality of like, hey, if you don't play well, that's okay. We don't have to have you. But if you do play well, we'll keep you in there. We'll give you those opportunities.
And he's obviously earning some trust, with the way that he played on Saturday. And they know he's really talented, but he's going to be on a short leash. Because Cal even talked about it after the game. He's like, oh, yeah, he did great, but he made a couple plays in there where it's like, and, no heat check threes. I mean, he took a wide open, unguarded 3, and Cal almost came unglued. It's like, okay, You're not going to shoot threes in this game. He threw that one-handed lob 16 feet in the air for Malik Ewan. It was like, there's nobody in the world that's going to catch that. He got in a lot of trouble for that. You can get away with it when you're up by 18 when that happens, but if this is a closer game, they're going to get him right back out of there. So he's got to have that awareness. And I think that it could go 2 ways, because now you've seen him. And so he's going to be on the scouting report for LSU. They're going to talk about him. They're going to know kind of who he is and what he's all about. But at the same time, it doesn't matter, because he's going to be on the floor with Acuff and Malik Thomas and Trevin and all those guys. So he's going to draw the short straw in terms of defenders. So my hope would be that he's a little bit more comfortable and he can make his plays by crashing the glass, the offensive boards, running out in transition, straight line drives and attacking closeouts. He doesn't even have to get too fancy to have an impact, but I'm to the point where thinking about what this team didn't have in the first game against LSU and what they need in this one, if you rebound and defend, you can play as many minutes as you want, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys' stance on this. And I think you look at someone like Malik Thomas, someone like Darius Acuff, they're going to do other things than handle the ball, but their night is ultimately going to be judged and their performance is going to be graded by what they did with the basketball in their hands. Mm-hmm. And they'll do the other things, and we want them to do well, but that is what's going to determine how many minutes they play, how good we speak of them in the postgame. For Isaiah Sealy, he actually touched the ball a ton in that other game. He ended up scoring a ton in transition, getting some opportunities. He won't touch the basketball nearly as much tonight, and he doesn't need to. I was watching a video actually the other day about Tony Allen and how all these players would be like, oh, he was the hardest guy to defend or whatever. And it's because he didn't care about scoring. He went into every game being like, this is what my performance is going to be graded off of. Energy, effort, and enthusiasm. They don't take any skill. They don't any talent or whatever. But seriously, it's like most players, the reason you're nervous going into the game is because I'm going to have to shoot. I'm going to have to make a shot. I'm going to have to do some things offensively. You don't have to worry about none of that. Just go out there and play balls to the wall.
Yeah, and you can just run towards the basket, and Darius Acuff is going to throw it to where you're at.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. When you have a point guard like him, he's going to put you in positions to succeed. You don't have to do anything. Catch the basketball, put it in the hoop. That's all you have to do when Acuff is out there. You think he's going to have his encore performance tonight?
I hope.
Because sometimes teams overcorrect, right? And it's like, all right, we're going to put 2 dudes on him. Somebody else is going to beat us. I don't think it matters with LSU and Acuff, but knowing the circumstance, fewer players, more minutes, more shots to go around, I wouldn't be shocked if Acuff did it again tonight.
No, not at all. Because listen, there's sometimes it's just about the matchups and if a certain player sees something. Like, I'm not saying that's exactly what Acuff saw, but imagine that if Acuff was, like something about LSU's defense or something about the way that they play or something about the player that would guard him or whatever. He's a good player. He's like, I found a weakness. I'm going to kill this dude. And I'm hoping that's kind of what he did with LSU, where he's like, I see something here. I'm just going to go to work. And I hope that that's kind of setting the tone early, because that everyone's aware of Darius Acuff now. He's not just some surprise like, hey, who's this guy? Like, no, everyone's going to game plan against him. And the fact that he's continuing to play the way that he is with everyone game planning against him shows how incredible he is. So I don't think anything that LSU, or I keep wanting to call him Vince McMahon, but Matt McMahon, and none of these guys and what they're going to do is going to be able to slow down Darius Acuff. The only thing that if they do slow him down a little bit, guess what? He's just going to be kicking it out to Malik Thomas. He's going to be throwing it up to other guys, and they're going to take care of business.
Well, and what happened when they played last time is the game was very close down the stretch. And when it's a close game, that's when your star players take you home. So he had a little bit more of a ball-dominant approach. If Darius Acuff doesn't go off in this game, I think that probably means that he didn't have to go off. That means he didn't have to force the issue offensively, because he definitely reached a moment in that LSU game with about 10 minutes left where he was like,
somebody's got to do it.
This game is being decided by me. Him and Malik Thomas did something similar against Oklahoma, where close game, you're working your way back. All right, get us to the finish line. I think both of those guys, I think Malik Thomas is going to be the guy that if LSU does make those adjustments and says, hey, we're forcing someone other than Darius Acuff to beat us, I think Malik Thomas will gladly step into that role of guy who beats them.
I think that's a really, really good call. I want to talk about that more in a minute, but this is weird because I don't know, like for me at least, I don't get big game vibes for this one. I know it's a purple out, but it's anytime you have the Tuesdays, the 8 p.m.s, LSU's 2-8 in the league, it's on the SEC network. It's just kind of like, all right, it's a business trip. Just go take care of it. But this is actually a really big game for Arkansas here. I mean, you win and you're going to go into the weekend within a half game of first place in the SEC. If you're 11 games into the SEC slate and you're 8-3 and you're a half game out of first place with the team that's ahead of you, that you still get to play, that's a big deal. That's really important. And say what you want about LSU, I get it, trust me. But if you go look at their metrics and everything, it's a quad one game for Arkansas. And the more of those that you can put on your resume, the better. And some of them are harder to come by. Like sometimes you get games at home and it's a tough game, but you feel good about your home court advantage. But when you can go on the road and play a 2-8 team in your league and pick up a quad win because of it, you have to take advantage of that opportunity. I don't know about y'all, but at the end of the night, no matter how they get it done, if they get it done, 18-6 overall and 8-3 in the league sounds pretty darn good to me.
Yeah, all day long, because it's like we know how tough it's been for Arkansas's road starting in the SEC. Like, it's just nice. This is the type of game where you still have, I guess, at this point in time, including tonight, 8 games left of the season, right, in the SEC?
Yeah.
So it's nice to be sitting with 8 games left and looking at it. It was like, man, we better hope we get hot quicks if we want to have a chance at this. It's nice to be like comfortable, not content, but comfortable enough to where, hey, you're not just worried about getting into the tournament or getting into that spot. It's more about, hey, we just need to take care of business, and then we get a better seed, and then we can put ourselves in a better position where we don't have to have Wednesday night sadness or even playing on a Thursday night. We can play Friday night in the SEC tournament. And then if we are playing on Friday night, that usually equates to us being a 4 or 5 seed at minimum in the NCAA tournament. It's like, it's just nice to have that comfortability. But like you said with tonight, you can't get to that point if you're losing games like this one to LSU on the road. Like, you just can't do it, because Arkansas's losses this season have not been awful. Like, it sucked to lose to Kentucky. It sucked in the way you lost to Auburn. It's on the road. It sucked the way you lost to Georgia on the road. But that's not like embarrassing like last year losing to LSU on the road or losing to South Carolina on the road. You haven't had that yet. I hope you never have it.
Yeah.
Like, let's hope it doesn't happen. But this is the type of game where it's like this. You just go out and take care of business. If you're a legitimate, serious team, this is the type of game that you should win. Don't care if it's on the road. Don't care what happens. You have to win this game.
For sure. I feel like, to your point, that there hasn't been like that crazy egregious loss so far this year, and like knock on wood that doesn't happen in this one. If we were able to look at it and like the games that Arkansas has lost, we were like, how did that happen?
I can think of one egregious loss.
Kentucky at home, but then I also think that we're going to look back at the end of the year and be like, they really just didn't show up for that Georgia game. I know it was on the road, but I haven't been sold on them the entire time. That one's annoying. This would certainly fit that category, so I don't even want to consider the possibility of that outcome. Yeah,
and I like what you said about how like this wouldn't be like a big win that like people nationally would be like, wow, great job, Arkansas, but the computer nerds with their little data would look at this as a pretty solid win. And so I'll take that. Oh, I also think, like, to your point, John, like, I think Arkansas we're getting very dangerously close to a point where they could lose out technically and still make the tournament. Obviously don't want them to. We would feel nervous if we did, but I think that comes with a little bit of a comfort because you only have so much mental stamina as a team. And I think last year down the stretch, Arkansas played basically 10 not must-win games, but games that really mattered. Games that really
every
had
night's a
implication.
tournament game, yeah.
You know what I mean? And, like, I'm not saying that's why Arkansas's season ended the way it did and why it ended, but it's like I do think Arkansas got to the final 6 or 7 minutes of that Texas Tech game, and it was like, man, they just didn't quite have enough juice. I'm not saying, hey, the fact that they had to play those games in March, that meant a lot, but I think as a team, if you can go into the final 7 or 8 games of the year and you're able to just play basketball and help your seeding and worry about that, that's a lot less of a mental load than it is of like, man, we really have to lock in and play well tonight. We have to win or we're screwed. That wears on you as a team once you're going into the tournament. You want to be able to go into the tournament and then turn that mode on, not be already in that mode on March 3rd.
Yeah, and also to your point too, it's like I'm thinking about like with Arkansas and what they've done this year. I'm going to make a prediction that they've already suffered their worst loss of the season.
I hope
that's
you're
what
right,
I'm going
man.
to say.
I like
they've
that.
already suffered their worst loss of the season this year, and that's it. And so the rest of it should just work out its way it should be, and everything's going to be fine. That's my prediction on all of it. That's what I'm hopeful for, at least. But yeah, I feel good about that.
I like that. I like it a lot. Well, folks, we're still out here at Goat Lab Red in Fayetteville. Make sure you come hang out with us. Take advantage of their progressive wing night. We're going to be here hanging out for the Arkansas LSU game that we're I don't even know what time it is. About a half hour out.
Yeah, 7:28.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Well, I see we got quite a few super chats in here, which is awesome. Really appreciate that. So I want to get into those now, and then we'll get into some little bit of fun, some predictions, picks to click, and those bet SARACEN prop plays that I know we were talking about beforehand. So let's get into the chat and see what folks have going on. Again, we appreciate everybody for hanging out with us, man. That's good stuff. From Cody James, he says, win tonight. Jordan Smith Jr. and the Diamond Hogs on Friday to start the Natty run. I'm here for it.
Sounds like a Woo Pig week to me.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, and Arkansas, like basketball's got to set the tone right here tonight because then you're kind of expecting commitment-wise Friday. Yeah. Season gets rolling, first pitch Friday, Auburn, Valentine's Day, rematch out for blood on Saturday. Yeah, this could be a pretty exciting weekend. Now, when have things ever gone according to plan?
Sure, yeah.
But I hope that they do.
Curtis, you know how I am. Like, there's sometimes where you're in that moment before a big game and you're like, I almost don't even want the game to happen because you just want to live in that anticipation. Like, that's almost better than the actual game itself, especially because the game itself could go poorly. Arkansas wins tonight. That's a lot of time between Tuesday and Saturday. We said that about Oklahoma where we were like, man, if you lose to Oklahoma going into that Kentucky game, you wouldn't even be able to be excited for 3-4 days. That's a very important thing for me personally. I want to be able to drive to Arlington on Friday just like with the world as my oyster, like coming off a big win, feeling good. Well, that would be 2 straight wins, 2 road wins. Arkansas would be in a very comfortable place from a resume standpoint. So I would definitely like to soak in those vibes for a little bit. You lose here, it just kind of throws a damper on the whole Woo Pig week. Even if you get Jordan Smith Jr., you're still a little bit upset.
Yeah, a little bit. They could then turn around and beat Auburn, and that'd be great. But I'm with you from the standpoint of, almost like locking up your spot. And I don't know, there's just a level of comfortability. If Arkansas wins this game tonight, they pick up their 8th SEC win. And this is a sad stat, but I'm going to say it anyway. That would match the most that Arkansas has had in SEC play in 3 years. I mean, they won 8 last season. The year before that, how many did they even win with Muss? Were they 6-12 or something that last year? And it was another 8-10 season in the year that they went and beat Kansas in the NCAA tournament. But as much success as this program has had from second weekends and Elite Eights and everything like that here recently,
the important stuff.
They stink in January and then they stink in the SEC, and it's like, all right, we got to get past that. And, if you've got however many it would be, 7 games or whatever left in conference play, and you're already at that mark that you were last year, that feels pretty good. How many regular season games did Arkansas win last year? 19? They go 19-12, I think, in the regular season. So they're 2 wins away from getting there. So it's, you're just trying to take a step forward as a program. That's a way to do it. And so there's, if you believe in stats and numbers and the power of those things, there's a lot at stake here tonight and especially for the vibes as well.
I think historically speaking, also, there are teams that have poor regular seasons that go on deep runs in the NCAA tournament, but a really, really high percentage of those teams that go to a Final Four, go to an Elite Eight, usually played good basketball in the regular season. I mean, even some of those must teams, I know that last one with Jordan Walsh and them, but like even the Moses Moody one, they started off a little bit slow. They still won, 12, 13 SEC games? Like there usually is a pretty strong correlation to the teams that make it far in the tournament. Most of the time, I know obviously we think of all the Cinderellas and we can point out all these examples, but even a lot of those teams, like George Mason in 2006, I'm sure they played well in conference. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure some of these Cinderella teams played pretty well. It's pretty rare for power conference teams that stunk all year and didn't have a good regular season that go on a real deep run.
Well, and also throwing it too, like I think you guys may have talked about this. So I had to go grab something, a speaker. But still, like with Arkansas, we got into this mode, at least I have, where it's like, hey, just if we struggle, if it's not great, that's okay. Just get to the tournament and we'll figure it out. It's like that's what's kind of different this year. And I don't know what to do with my hands type of thing of like, what's the success in the conference? Well, does that mean the opposite now that Arkansas is going to lose in the first round of the NCAA tournament because now they're doing well? Like there's just dynamic and mind games that we play where instead of just looking at it where it's some sort of scientific formula, just look at it as, hey, you're a good team that's beating teams in the SEC. And you get to the tournament and roll the dice and see what happens. Maybe you can do both. Maybe you can be good in the conference and make it far in the NCAA tournament. It is possible.
Yeah, it is. It is possible. That'd be fun to see. I see our friend Katz is he's always trying to do the troll thing, but talking about those SEC stats and like we prefaced with it, it's weird that it's been a thing for Arkansas. As much success, big picture as they've had, that they've struggled in league play, and he says it's embarrassing. Don't let the people at Goat Lab hear that. I think what's also embarrassing is the way that Kentucky has they call themselves the standard, but they've completely moved the goalpost for the expectations of their program since Mark Pope took over. I mean, they celebrated 10-8 in SEC play last year, and that would have got John Calipari ran out of town. You know, they celebrated a second weekend, and when has that ever been the standard over there? They're throwing parades right now for getting back into the top 25 for the first time in like 2 months. Congratulations, I guess. So if we want to talk about some of the standards and the things that people are excited about, you could look in the mirror also.
And also, I think everyone listening would gladly sign up for postseason success over regular season success. So it's really not that much of a gotcha to be like, oh yeah, you had a team that two teams that went 8 and 10 that went to the Sweet 16. It's like, I don't know. It's really not that much of a knock.
Well, yeah, because my thing is, I'm like, you said the standard. The standard of what? What did Kentucky set the standard of?
Not having wideouts.
Yeah, exactly. They set the standard. There's not like I remember talking with the KSR guys when they came down here in Kentucky. Like, this has been the worst 6-year stretch in Kentucky basketball history. And I'm like, so what are y'all talking about? Like, why are y'all flexing your muscles on things and saying how much you're better than all this? That's great. You have a great fan base. It's great. You have $22.5 million. But make no mistake, y'all have been pretty irrelevant. And there's no direct path that says, no, this year's different though. This year, they're finally going to do it. Maybe they do. But until that happens, Alabama's a better program. Auburn's been a better program. Arkansas has been a better program. All these programs have been better than you in the SEC over the past few years. So I just don't really know what they're talking about.
Well, but their recruiting class will turn that around, I'd imagine.
Oh, totally. Yeah. So, of course. Whoops.
Yikes.
Too soon?
Wow, that's tough. I'm just watching right here in front of me, and Vanderbilt is kind of taking it to Auburn at Auburn.
They're controlling the second half pretty well. Like, it stayed in this range. Because they were up, I think, 10 or 12 going into half.
Yeah.
Or maybe 10 or 11.
Prayers for our guy Quinn, man. Prayers for our guy Quinn.
Yeah, we'll accept another audio submission after this one tonight. They're a polarizing team, man, because glancing at it for a couple minutes at a time here, they look nothing like they did in that game against Arkansas. Maybe that's an indictment on Arkansas's defense. Maybe they're just not playing as hard. I don't know. But
at home, too. And Vanderbilt kind of sucks on the road usually.
Yeah. Did Charles Bediako steal their soul?
Might have.
Oh. Yeah. Even more collateral damage from the NCAA's, lack of timing.
We were talking about it though. We want Auburn to win this game though. If you're Arkansas, right?
Yeah. Because now they'll get beat up. They'll have a 2-game losing streak at home, and then Stephen Pearl will fire them up for the Gipper. And
I mean, that's what happened last time,
dude. And I'm not kidding. I'm not
honestly,
saying I'm not saying it's like a must win, but if you're Auburn, you're sitting at 14-10 and overall, and you got a 5-6 SEC record. I think is what it would be. Yeah. You're good. That game against Arkansas is like one you're going to have to get back.
I can hear it now. They were more desperate than us.
Dude, I do hate for Auburn that you want to talk about all the people that are affected by this Bediako thing. Auburn might have gotten the rawest deal here because one, they lost the game, and it was like that's one them and A&M realistically could point to that game and say they would probably win without Bediako. If Auburn could very well end up in that like 9 seed range where like you're not worried about Auburn not making the tournament, but they're a couple more losses away from like getting in trouble. If that ends up being a factor for them, that's more important than pretty much any of the other teams that Bama played during that stretch.
Yeah, that's wild. We'll see how this game ends. Still a lot of time to go, but it's not looking good for them right now. A few more super chats, and then we'll get into a couple other things and wrap it up here. Hayden Ulmer, who's been a member for 9 months, man, that's awesome. He says he loathes.
Congratulations on the baby.
Like that?
9 months. Anybody?
Oh, my
Sorry.
bad. I was like, well, we have.
I'll be over here if you need
You were
me.
like, dang, Hayden Ulmer.
I was like, really?
In 9 months, man.
Not too long ago, he was buying me diapers.
Curtis was stunned at the suggestion that Hayden Ulmer had found a lady.
Well,
that's what that was.
I just felt
Hayden,
like I would have known that. You know what I mean?
I want you to notice that, Hayden. That's what happened in that moment.
It's all love for Hayden, man. Gosh, all right.
It's his. We're sure.
Oh man. From Lanky, just simply Darius Acuff.
That's the tweet. Isn't that what they say? That's the tweet.
Yeah, that is what they say. Well, okay. Well, let's do this right now, real quick. Each of us get one pick to click for this basketball game. Who is the Razorback that you were most confident in is going to have a strong performance on the road tonight at LSU?
Well, so Darius Acuff doesn't count. I'm assuming.
And you can't say Acuff because it's already Lanky took him.
I'm gonna Malik Thomas is the answer. I'm not even gonna take him because that's too obvious. I am going to go with Mr. Trevin Brazil.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I wish I had the clip, but I don't know, man. I want to go Billy. Stop it. Oh, Billy Richmond. You know what?
Billy Goat.
They call him in here in Arkansas Billy Goat.
Everybody
calls him Billy Goat,
honestly.
according to Gal. So, but no.
Nobody's ever referred to him as anything else.
I want Billy to have just a Billy game of like 14-6. And then all of his shots are either like just dunks, layups, or free throws. Like they don't even shoot on the outside, man. That's it.
I like that. I like that a lot. I mean, Billy Goat is a great play when we're at Goat Lab.
That's the way it needs to be.
Yeah. The
Perfect.
only thing that would be better is we're at Goat Lab Red if they were actually wearing their red jerseys on the road. But we can't ask for too much here.
Yeah, be a double entendre.
Yeah. There you go. We got a new member in here. R3
Rewind
91. Yeah, we like that. Rewind. That makes more sense.
Rewind 91.
I'm not catching on any of them.
Man, I said the same thing, Curtis. Me and Curtis are old over here. We're like R3 wind. All right, that's cool. It's like
okay, sure. From Zach, he says, "Oh wow, Billy with a double and 18 points."
Okay, if that happens, Arkansas wins this game by 25 points.
Because think about what Billy would have to be doing on the floor. He'd be having to commit war crimes to get 18 and 10. That'd be a lot. Because like every bucket he gets is an effort bucket. Every rebound he gets is an effort rebound. That's a lot of he might have a stroke after that. Because he
carry him off the court.
Well, he won't pull a Darren Peterson. If he's cramping, he'll stretch it out and get back in there.
Yeah.
So we know that that's true. Let's get to a couple more chats here. I see our buddy Peyton is in here. He says, love the fact that Sealy is getting more run. I think he can make his case to expand the rotation, as Curtis alluded to in the postgame show the other day. That's the thing. So for me, I need Isaiah Sealy to do whatever it takes for him to have an impact on winning this basketball game.
Yep.
That's priority number one. Doesn't need to be more than that. What would be cool is if he takes the next step and all of a sudden, because you guys remember, I mean, we saw him at, I remember that preseason practice that we went to. I remember the scrimmage deal at Hot Springs that we went to early in the year. And we were like, this dude looks better than Billy and Carter right now. Obviously, he's not. But in the preseason, he was outperforming those guys when we got to see him.
Billy openly did not respect the Hot Springs showcase.
No, he did not, dude.
He was not motivated for that one.
He did not. And so we were wondering at the time, like, well, is he going to be able to parlay this into something? You found out pretty quick, like, the game's still moving pretty fast for Isaiah Sealy. He's got to pick up on some of the nuance. He doesn't have the experience, but now he's been around for a while. So if he has a big breakout game, here against LSU, I just want him to perform to the point where when Arkansas gets healthy and they're at full strength and they got all 8 guys back, that Cal's got to look over at Isaiah Sealy. He's sitting in the meeting before the game talking with the staff about what's the rotation going to look like and everything. And it's like, so Isaiah? Do we give him a look, at the under 12 or whatever? That's when you might be onto something there. I don't want him to take the I think somebody put a Dante Allen in there, like the old Cal Kentucky comparison. I was thinking about a Jordan Burks who he played a little bit in non-conference, and then I remember we're watching Vanderbilt now. He had like a crazy game out of nowhere. He played like 5 SEC minutes. He plays 15. He sticks it to Vanderbilt, and everybody's like, oh, maybe they're onto something here, and he barely played the rest of the year. I don't want that to be the case because, 1, he's a local guy. 2, he's John Tyson's guy. And 3, it's just a cool story.
Yeah, I don't want that either. Like, I just want Sealy to be the guy that's like, you never have to worry about him not giving the effort, not going in. He's the crowd favorite because it's kind of like what Billy's still has that a little bit. But it was really last year when Billy was just the crowd favorite because it's like, hey, he's a true freshman. He's not getting a whole lot of run. He's surrounded by all this elite level, superior talent. But when he goes in there, he just gives it his all. Like he's the guy that you want to have in there. And man, I'm telling you, if Sealy has a great game in this one, people are going to be saying, we just get ready for it. Hey, Carter, we should just not ever play him again. In fact, we should just kick him off the team and just revoke his scholarship and tell him to hit the road.
Him and DJ will be getting allegations after this game.
Yeah.
Oh,
sure. Yes.
yeah.
100%.
There is no doubt about that one. We've got another new member in here, and appreciate you. Am I missing anything? Armstrong.
Yes,
good enough for me.
He put the little buffers there just so you could understand.
Yeah, there we go. But I saw a chat that I think went along with that. Where can I get your hoodie? That it could be, I guess, either one of us. John's,
which one?
John's is exclusive to John. I think. It's just he's.
Yeah, I'm not giving this one away.
Yeah, he's one of a kind here. But I think, and I didn't schedule this stream, but I think that in the description on YouTube, there's a link to exactly where you can get this hoodie if you're interested.
Correct.
Okay, perfect. I shouldn't have even said anything because I know John's good for it. If anybody was going to forget to put it in there, it would have been me. So.
If anyone wants to know, you can get my shirt from Alumni Hall in case anyone cares.
Yeah. Well, somebody asked me they're like, hey, do you guys have extra smalls? I'm like, what's wrong with you? It's like, who's extra small? I was like, if you want it, I was like, do you need it for like a child? They're like, no, I'm just extra small. I was like,
I'm just
I'll
a very,
see what I can
very
do.
small person.
I was like, I'll do what I can, man, but no guarantees. No guarantees on it.
So we know anytime we have an Arkansas basketball or an Arkansas sporting event in general, our friends Bet SARACEN, it's the #1 sports betting app in Arkansas, by the way. They've got a ton of options for you. And we always like to look at those double R props or the player specials or whatever. I usually spend the end of the Pod the Palace pregame show, which is usually at 5 o'clock in the morning. I throw some of those out there, but I knew we were doing this, so I wanted to save it. I know you guys have been scanning it. Is there anything from the prop play standpoint that stands out to you?
So I have 3 for you, actually.
Okay.
Malik Ewan, over 55.5 field goal percentage and over 74.5 free throw percentage. Now, the free throw is the one that could kind of, be a little bit of an issue. If he just shoots like 1 or 2 and he goes 1 for 1, 2 for 2, 3 for 3, or even 3 for 4,
sure,
you're good. And we've seen him have some games where he shoots like 10 or 12, so hopefully that doesn't happen because it's going to be hard for him to be 75% there, but that's kind of what I'm counting on. He usually goes like 4 or 5 from the field. Like he doesn't miss a ton of field goals, so I like that one. That one's plus 325. I like the Malik Thomas one, over 16.5 points, over I think it's 4.5 rebounds.
Yeah.
So you'd have to have 5. That one's plus 400. So that one's a little bit juicier. And then I like both teams, or there to be a tie over 3.5 times, plus 200. I don't think Arkansas is going to blow these guys out, frankly. I think it's just hard to get a comfortable margin like that on the road. Maybe they have a little bit of a slow start. This could also be 2-2, 4-4, 6-6. 4 times the game is tied. I think that's plus 200.
Yeah, I'm going to go with because I think Billy's going to have a good game. I'm really hoping so. And he's got some really good ones here too. Like if you want to go with just the basic one, Billy Richmond. I forgot which chatter said that he was going to have a big game, but if you have over 12.5 points scored and over 4.5 rebounds, you got a plus 450, which is not an insane concept. Like if I told you, hey, Billy scored 13 and 5, none of you are going to be like, whoa, what happened? Everyone's going to think, yeah, it's pretty on court. But then you got for plus 575, Billy Richmond over 7.5 blocks, steals, and 3-point field goals attempted combined.
Well, we know he's attempting at least 2 corner threes.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and think about it. If he makes 1, that'll buy him a couple more. He could have 3 of those and then just a couple steals, a couple blocks. You're home free.
You're in business over there. So, yeah, I really like those. And then there was another one, too, that I was looking at as far as that went. Oh, yeah, so the Billy Rich other one, plus 300, over 50.5 field goal percentage for Billy, and then over 33.5 3-point field goal percentage. So if he goes 1 of 3,
1 of 2 or 1 of 3, or 1 of 2,
yeah. So it's like he's good to go plus 300. So I like a big Billy night tonight.
There we go. Yeah, I had one of the Billy ones too. Billy Richmond over a half block and over 26.5 minutes at plus 200.
That's easy
one block in 27 minutes when you don't have any players. I mean, sign me up for that. For
easy money.
For Billy, let me ask you guys this. We talked about Isaiah Sealy, and it's modest. I mean, it's plus 120, but Isaiah Sealy over 3.5 points scored, over 2.5 rebounds. Now that we know Carter and DJ's out, he's going to play. Why not? I hope he would at least be able to contribute that much. That's not bad. I had, you said it earlier about if if they had a game plan for Darius Acuff, like we're going to force the ball out of his hands, somebody else is going to have to beat us, that Malik Thomas kind of seems like that guy. Anytime you're in a situation where there are more shots to go around, Malik Thomas is good for it. He loves it.
Yeah.
And so I saw his. So he does. It's not even about him making any shots, honestly. Over 6.5 3-pointers attempted and over 11.5 field goals attempted.
Easy.
Plus 135. That seems like free money to me, I guess. So those were a few that I like there.
Man,
for sure.
that in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
You just get to choose how much money you want to take from them.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And then, there are some of those specials in there that are always interesting. Like for this one, I think I don't remember the odds, and I just turned my app off. But it's like Malik Thomas over 20 points in Arkansas to win.
Oh,
and then
I love those.
Yeah, and then Trevin over. I had over 15 in Arkansas to win, because it's like, if Arkansas is going to win in this situation, well, what are these guys going to have to do? Because when you only have so many players, everybody's got to contribute. That feels like a nice little baseline for those guys.
Which one are you looking at? Which one? Because I got them pulled up here. Which one are you
Malik
saying?
Thomas 20 in Arkansas to win. I think it's plus 275 right there.
Yep.
And like 25 is not off the table for him. But then Trevin Brazil had a couple on there too.
Yeah, Trevin Brazil sitting there. Plus, if he scores 15 or more and wins.
Plus, and it just feels like he
one.
should do that, right?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, it's certainly possible. What's the spread in this game, by the way?
4.5.
Yeah, so like Arkansas winning is like not even like that gives you a decent little boost to it. Like it's like probably Arkansas like minus 160 or something like that.
Right.
So I mean,
yeah,
it's different than if they were like 10-point favorites. That bet probably wouldn't even be worth it. But getting Arkansas to win is a big part of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, speaking of Arkansas winning, and we're gonna wrap it up here because we're 10 or so minutes away from tip off, but let's do that real quick. Let's give our final prediction here. What do we say? Arkansas is a 4.5-point favorite there on the road. What do you think? Arkansas going to get it done? They going to cover?
I think so. I think Arkansas wins big, at least because, again, maybe it's just false hope. Maybe it's just because I want to have an enjoyable Tuesday night here at Goat Lab. It'll be enjoyable no matter what, but, it's always better with a win, and especially a dominating one where we don't have to worry about anything. But I don't know, man. I just feel like there's nothing I can point to, but I just feel like LSU's spirit is going to be broken in this, and they're just done. Like, they're going to move on from McMahon, and they're just going to roll over and die. It's an 8 p.m. tip. They're doing a purple out. Like, nobody wants that.
Weird.
Yeah, it's just weird. And I just feel like Arkansas, and knowing how they just barely escaped with the win last time, I think the urgency is going to still be there. I think you're going to see guys step up again. I think Arkansas wins this one by a final score of 93-79.
I like that. LSU, the thing I keep coming back to is LSU's season, like how far they go is going to be determined by what they do in the SEC tournament. They are now at that point. Of course, they could, I guess, win out and make the tournament as an at-large bid. Sure. But it's like,
realistically, you're right.
They kind of know in that locker room, none of these games matter. Because if you're, it doesn't matter if you're 0-18 or you're 18-0, you win the SEC tournament, you're in the tournament. So I think that's kind of like where if they fall behind at any point in this game, it can't be that hard to talk yourself into just being like, hey, it's not our night. Whereas if Arkansas falls behind by 8, they're not going to be having that it's not our night mentality, I wouldn't think. And so it's like I think Arkansas, there's a lot more to lose for them in this game. I don't think Arkansas's, what they scored? They scored 85 in the first one.
85-81. I actually remember having a conversation with you at halftime of that game, and you were like, dang, they're not even going to score 80. And they wound up doing it much better in the second half, but it was rough.
I think Arkansas is not going to score quite that many. They hit 10 threes in that game as well. I'm going to go 82-76. I have them covering, and that may seem like it's going to be like a dogfight. I think Arkansas is going to lead in that 5 to 10 point range for a good portion of the second half.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of with you. When we did this for intern Reagan, I think I said 85-76 my final. I think Arkansas is going to win the game. I think that they're going to control the game, especially once we get into the second half. But I kind of get Ole Miss game vibes of they'll just be covering from that 8 to 12 range most of the time. Now, hopefully, Matt McMahon doesn't get mad and bench his entire team, and then some random Brazilian kid comes and has 15 in a row. But that's kind of where I'm at. I don't know that I'm seeing a blowout like they had against Mississippi State, but I think we might have a semi-comfortable business-like performance. I've got an 85-76 win for the Razorbacks in this one.
I like that.
Guys, any final thoughts before we get out of here? We're almost at game time. We did it. What a good way to kill an hour.
Yeah. I know. My final thought is that if you're trying to get in on this great progressive wing deal over at Go Lab, you're running out of time. Like, the game's about to start.
Yes,
so you
sir.
got to be, because the rules are you have to get here before tip off, purchase your first set of 6 wings at $1 a wing, and then after each TV timeout, you got to purchase 2 wings, but then it also, the price goes down every time the Razorbacks score at every under 16, under 12, all of that. So come on out here. It's an awesome spot. We're going to dive into some wings and some greatness too. And also shout out to everybody that showed up here because you guys went double. You guys went double because not only do you get to see our faces in person, you get to see our faces on the TV at the same time.
Yeah,
not many people can say that they've accomplished that.
Yeah.
So, but no, we appreciate everybody. It's going to be an awesome night, and appreciate everybody coming in, hanging out, and then Woo Pig, Hogs by 90, all that nonsense.
I'm stealing my final thought from our boy Hickory Hog here. He said, "Thank God, Ron Zipper will not be a factor in this game."
Thank goodness, Ron Zipper.
It just saves Cal a lot of time. But no, seriously, appreciate everybody for tuning in as always. Everybody here at Go Lab, that's always awesome. Hope Arkansas scores a lot to help that progressive wing deal. Don't forget, it's going to be a late night. I understand it it's tough to stay up late, but me and Curtis from about 10-ish to 11-ish are going to be live tonight for the post game, especially after this dominant performance. You're going to want to soak in those vibes with us, and we'll be partying until Friday, man. It's going to be awesome.
I like that. Yeah, Ron Zipper clears Ron Burgundy, and there's really no discussion to be had about it.
Clears Ron Holland as well.
And Ron, absolutely clears Ron Holland for sure. But no, that sounds good. Appreciate you guys for coming and hanging out with us. Appreciate Goat Lab Red for having us. And yeah, ditto to what Andrew said. Make sure you tap back in for the Pod the Palace post-game show immediately following Arkansas and LSU's. For John Neighbors and Andrew Ellis, I'm Curtis Wilkerson. We're the Inside Arkansas crew, and we will see you guys next time. Enjoy the game.